now tuned in to the Cold Hard Truth, Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
It's okay.
Big news. I have some important news for you.
Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
Cayman's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Good morning, Sandy.
Hey, good morning, Aaron. You're flying solo again today?
I am. So Blake is off. It was his kid's 3rd birthday yesterday. So they're doing a little staycation. So he'll be back tomorrow.
Okay. I was going to say, Blake taking all kind of vacation time.
I know. Look at how much he's accrued. It's kind of crazy when you can't get off island, how much vacation you have to lose it or use it at the end of the year, right?
Yes, absolutely. So how was your weekend?
Wonderful. My mom and my stepdad, Paul, are here. They got in Saturday night. And, sometimes it's been almost 2 years. So it's just, it was, so good. I sent my husband and father-in-law to go to the airport to collect them because I'm like, I'm just going to cry the second I see them. And so that was good. That's, kids were so excited to see them. And yeah, it's just amazing. So how was your weekend?
Nice. Yeah, it was good.
Good.
No complaints.
That's good.
Yeah.
Listen, it's 5 days away from Christmas. We're almost there.
Yes, almost.
Are you prepared? Do you have everything done?
I always feel like I say no because there's always something else to be done, you know? So I'm getting closer though to being
That's good.
prepared.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
So like gift
obviously,
wrapping is done.
oh
Gifts are
yeah.
like 99% done.
Oh, that's good. It's the wrapping the part
Oh
that's
my
just
God,
like,
I hate wrapping. I'm the worst at it actually. So
I am too. And it's at the end, it's just like, it looks like a ball of tape with some paper on it.
went on with my camera this morning. Yeah, thank goodness that nobody really looks at the wrapping all that well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
There you are.
I know. I was trying to adjust my camera a little bit. But
Oh,
yeah, I'm horrible at wrapping, but I'm really great at picking pretty decent gifts. So I figure that must make up for the wrapping.
that's good. Yeah. I think that, yeah, I don't think anyone's really looking at the wrapping all too closely.
Yeah.
Maybe professional rappers, but there's very few of those in the world. So,
Yeah, exactly.
so what happened over the weekend? Anything?
Well, it was actually a really busy weekend. We had so many traffic incidents
Yeah.
that we were keeping an eye on. There's actually a hit and run on the Smith Road, which for a minute we thought, oh my gosh, this person might have died. But
It was it like a car or like a pedestrian kind of thing?
yeah, it was a pedestrian that was hit by a car and the car didn't stop.
How can people do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then there are people who saw it happen who obviously ran out and offered some assistance. And the poor guy almost got ran over again because it was already nighttime and people just speeding and not paying attention. And even as people jumped out, there were some. I think there was a nurse that was like one of the first people on the scene, which was really good.
Lucky.
And they were able to call 911 and offer some assistance. And even though she's there, like trying to redirect traffic, people were like honking and being really impatient. So I thought, wow, that's crazy.
I mean, that's just, how can you, that's heartless. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, but the person is okay though, but they're okay.
Yes. He's going to be fine. And there was a lot of people like in parking lots hitting each other and not stopping either. So people have taken to reporting them to CMR. So I think those of you who are doing that, we got about 3 or 4 reports over the weekend of like parking lot hit and runs as well.
Crazy.
So people are recording it and they're taking photos and they're reporting you. And of course, CMR is going to put you up.
Yeah. Well, and eventually, I mean, the police can catch, I would assume that's like, I don't know. And it's a worse offense if you hit and run.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the other sort of really super big story over the weekend that CMR broke on Saturday evening was the fact that we now have 27 suspected Omicron cases in the Cayman Islands. Well, 4 are confirmed, I should say, and the other 23 are suspected. But from what I understand, when they say suspected, that means they're like 99% sure that is the case. They're just doing some kind of final analysis on the genome sequencing just to confirm it. But it's pretty much that we probably have all 27 cases here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotta take my my folks to get their first PCR test today, because day 2, yeah, that would be today.
Yeah.
So
is it PCR or lateral flow?
Or lateral flow. Sorry, yeah, lateral flow.
Yeah.
Whatever. I've got to just do what I got to do, and
Yeah. So lots of the politicians over the weekend were out and about doing their Christmas rounds.
Mhm.
So we were able to go to a few of those events, particularly on Saturday. Oh my gosh, I felt like everybody did theirs on Saturday. The premier had his yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
The deputy premier was out and about doing his annual Christmas cakes yesterday afternoon as well. So I'm in his constituency. So he stopped by, and guess what, Aaron? Had a little game of pickleball with him.
Oh, did you? Oh, yes,
Yes,
you're a pickleballer, aren't you?
In my head, only in my head.
In your head, yeah, that's fun. Oh, I love it. This pickleball came out of nowhere. I'm telling you, it's like 5 years ago we didn't know about coronavirus or pickleball.
Exactly, because he was like, "What on earth is pickleball?" He's like, "What is this?" So, yep, I gave him a racket and we ran around the lawn a little bit, and I must admit that he actually beat me in the second round. The first one I got him, and then we did a little second game, and he put me to shame. So I gotta get my game on.
That's good. Sounds like a fun time.
It was. So yeah, those are some of the headlines we've got for you this morning.
Great. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch up tomorrow.
Yes,
And
thank you
Blake
so
will
much.
be
Are you
back.
going to take some time off this week as well, or?
So I'm going to work. So we'll be all here all week, and then Blake and I are going to both take off after Christmas that whole week for till the new year kind of thing.
Okay.
Just yeah, I'm looking forward to just like sleeping in for. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, my kids will wake me up no matter what, but at least sleeping in 5 minutes longer than usual.
Right. Awesome.
Except
right,
they're gonna. I
sounds
don't know about
good.
you, but are you good? I'm sure you'll be up at 5 a.m. on Christmas morning. Kids get up super early the day of.
Yes. Well, I've been teaching her a little bit of patience, I hope, by putting the gifts out early and saying, nope, you can't touch them.
Oh,
She's like, what? Is it Christmas yet?
Oh yeah, I did that, and then Elf on the Shelf is sitting closer to the presents to keep an eye.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Anyway, all right. Well, you
All
guys
right, Aaron, have a great day. Be safe.
Bye, you too. Bye, and that was CM.
All right, folks. So that's Blake and Aaron with only Aaron in the studio today. Good morning, Miss Lillian. Good morning to Miss Alice. How are you feeling? Miss Alice had surgery. Has it been a week yet? I feel like it's been almost a week. Olivia's here. Good morning, Miss Dawn. Says family's blessings. Thank you so much. Omadevi is here. Good morning. So good to see you. Jeanette, thank you. Yes, we're all thankful. Because gosh, so many things happened over the weekend. Now I noticed my camera's a little bit off today. I don't know who moved it. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can make some adjustments to it. Because it looks like somehow it got moved. I don't know, but I'm like extra close when I really shouldn't be that close. Hold on. I don't know what happened to my camera. Somebody touched my camera. It's still completely off, I feel like. Normally this is how I should look, I think. But someone has adjusted it. Anyway, I'll play with it a little bit later on. Normally there's nobody. I feel like I should be. Normally there's no one in here, so I don't know. It's like cutting off my head. So I don't know what happened. Oh, you know what? I know exactly what happened, Marlon. He was in here putting up a new light for me, and I think somehow he moved the camera. All right, well, you guys can kind of see me. I'll get it sorted out after this episode because I literally have my forehead cut off. We'll work on it. Yes. I gotta show him this. I'm like, you moved my camera and now it's cutting my head off. All right, well, if I kind of move down a little bit, I feel like you guys can see me. These are all the tech things that we have to deal with, but that's okay because I'm actually going to be pulling out some cabling today in this area because I got a new piece of equipment I'm going to put in there. Damien, good morning. Good morning, Marshall. Good morning to Miss Bonnie from East End. Diamond Princess is joining us. I feel like I really need to almost like sit down today. Anne, good morning to Miss Anne. Emma's here. Miss Joy, Chantel, Corrine. I got a gift certificate for you, by the way, and Jamelia. So we'll talk about all the stuff that happened over the weekend. Good morning to Larry, joining us from New York. Evelyn, joining us from Newlands. Erica, buen dia. Yes, buenos dias. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy bien. Miss Lily, buenos dias. Robert, good morning. So yes, he said it must have been when he was putting on the clock. Oh. So little Miss Gigi is home today. I'm actually waiting on her to hold on, let me see if I can adjust it again. I'm waiting on her to get up this morning. So I would say look out for that. I don't feel like that's much better, but a little bit better. All right, we'll make some adjustments. Don't worry about it for now. All right, so good morning to Miss Roxy. How are you? So how was your weekend, everyone? It was a very eventful weekend. There's a lot that happened. So I feel like for Monday Rewind, we have a lot of ground to cover. So let's get it. Let's get it.
Time for Monday Rewind. The Cold Hard Truth's Monday Rewind show recaps the weekend's news and events so you don't miss a beat.
Don't miss out.
All the weekend's source, news, gossip, and well, it wouldn't be a weekend recap show without traffic accidents too. Cayman Marl Road is Cayman's #1 news source and has the island's hottest morning talk show.
It's the hottest.
Make sure you don't miss a beat with Monday Rewind.
Rewind.
Tune in every Monday from 7:30 a.m. on both YouTube and Facebook.
Miss Blissful Powell says that I was the first to respond to your question. Seems your live feed missed out my comment. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Well, you get a gift certificate too. Just message me. 324-1612. Good morning to Paul joining us in the Bahamas. So let's start with, shall we start with the traffic accidents? What was going on this weekend? You know, this is why honestly, I like to stay off the streets come Christmas week. And it's not just Christmas week. It's almost like 2 weeks before Christmas. It just gets like super, super crazy. So there was one after the other. Here's the first one that's up, not in order, because I think this might have been the last one that we actually reported on. So this happened. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. So this one is across from, I looked at it and I couldn't quite tell where this was. I'm like, where is this? And it's actually across from, what's the name of that plaza again? Queen's Court. So, you know, there's Thai Orchid in that plaza, right? So this is the one by that area. So this person just ran into a light pole. I'm like, what on earth? Yes, apparently. I mean, it's just crazy. So that happened. And then, not to be left out, there was this one, which is this is Camana Bay Roundabout. So I don't know what has happened to the Camana Bay Roundabout and is that one the Butterfield Roundabout down by Coshuless? But lately, I feel like both of those have been super hot spots for accidents. Like people are literally just running into them with no regard for, you know, anything really. I mean, obviously not people's lives, because you would be slowing down if that was the case, and it just isn't happening. So that happened as well. Listen, I don't even get how people are running into, like, how do you run into that roundabout? Is it because you're just overtaking the, like you're going too fast trying to get into the roundabout and you just go straight? Like, I don't get it. I mean, do we not know at this point that roundabouts require you to slow down? It seems quite logical to me, but apparently not. So this white car, and it's like they always end up like right in front of the Cayman Bay sign as well. So almost taking out the entire wall. And I figure, well, I suppose it's really only a matter of time before they do take the wall out. Yeah. What a mess. I don't even know what to say. It's just crazy, right? And then I'm trying to pull up the other one, which is actually a video. Let me see if I can have any luck. So this one says this file is not playable. So this one was down by 7 Mile Beach. And I'll have to do a screen share in this one because this one really takes the cake on so many different levels. But let me show you guys this one as well. So hold on one second. So sometimes we get video clips. Yes, my dear. Let me just see. If I can share this one. So this one was a fender bender. I think this looks like only one car. From what I can see. And somebody said to me about the other one last night that, oh yeah, the lights are still on. And I thought to myself, oh my God, like the person jumped out of the car and I guess had to run for it. And left. I guess the lights are probably the last thing that you're worried about when you're in an accident. But here's this one as well. This one, you can see the lights are still on. Hot mess. Let me turn on the audio on this one because this one actually has audio.
You're standing, that's all that matters. Exactly. You know, you're lucky.
I grew up in LA. You see celebrities all the time. These are famous people.
She treated Queen Elizabeth like she was Kim K.
Do you think there was a standard for this? I wanted to see if I could that auto played another video, but I was listening to a little bit of the conversation, and the lady in that video is like, you're okay. That's the most important thing. But I really wanted to see him walk, because how did that accident happen? How did this guy end up in that wall? Was he drunk? Like he was kind of standing up, and I'm like, I want to see you do that. The walk. What's the walk called that the police make you do to check if you're sober? The sobriety test. I'm like, make him walk. Not even a straight line, because you can tell when somebody's drunk. They're gonna get nowhere near a straight line, right? So I was kind of looking at him, going, that car is totaled. The windshield was out. You saw that, right? Thankfully for him, it looked like it came out in just about an entire piece. Front end smashed to pieces. He is just really super fortunate to be alive, in my opinion. Unbelievable. So what would he have been doing to end up in that wall and cause that much damage? 99% of the cases, I feel like it's speeding, lack of attention, and must be a DUI, because there's no logical explanation for how some of these accidents can actually happen otherwise. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me see some of your comments. Good morning. Paul corrects me. I always say Bahamas, I think. Bermuda. My apologies, Paul. I see your little flag there. It does say BM, but I can't actually see the flag, but I do see the initials. What are the initials for Bahamas? I feel like there's an H in their initials. But yes, Bermuda. Thank you for correcting me. I always get the B islands, Bermuda, Bahamas, and which other one? There's another one that I always kind of get confused. But Paul's like, get it right now. Waiting for the Bahamas. Sue, good morning. Says that the premiere never got to Savannah Meadows. I can find out. It takes a lot longer for people to get to places, but I'm going to talk about that here in a second. And Jaren, good morning to you. Catherine, good morning. Sue agrees. She says it's all speed. They just won't slow down. Catherine says that wall is too high anyway. You should be able to see around and across the roundabout to see the oncoming traffic. Which wall is this? The last one that we just showed by the beach? Or Cayman Bay? Like, I'm confused about which wall you're talking about. But I'm trying to visualize both walls. I must admit, I don't traverse West Bay Road that often, but I haven't noticed it being an obvious hindrance to good driving, because I probably would have picked up on it, but I haven't noticed it. So Jean Scott says, is it Jean Scott or Jean Scott? Jean, I feel like, says that people are coming out of Cayman Bay in the outside lane and then trying to go to West Bay, and I almost had an accident there. This reminds me of there was another one. Was that the King Sports roundabout? There was another one. I always call them by the wrong name. That is a CUC roundabout. So I think we should be referring to them by who sponsors the roundabout. But you guys know it's like right by King Sport. I think that's where somebody almost hit me the other day too. And my dash cam was recording the whole thing because I thought, man, these people are so reckless. And what they were doing is they were actually the same thing that I was talking about the other day, where they're in the inside lane and they're crossing over. Now, listen, I kind of feel like you can do that if you make sure you have full clearance and there's no other vehicles in the roundabout. But you can't do that when people are already in the roundabout, because then they're going in the direction that they should be going. You're crossing over, and what's going to happen is like a collision. I think it was that roundabout. So you guys know the NRA was on with the RCIPS last week, and they're aware, obviously, of certain locations that are kind of like hotspots, and they are monitoring those and see how they can, if they can do anything about it. But you know, it's user error. It's people just not knowing how to use the roundabouts properly. Do you think we would have fewer accidents? Let me ask you this. Do you think we would have fewer accidents if we had no roundabouts? Like, do you think the roundabouts are part of the issue because a lot of people just don't know how to use them? I find that, like I said in that program last week, a lot of people have never seen a roundabout in their life before coming to the Cayman Islands. But even after being here for years, it's like you should get used to a roundabout by now. And they just, I don't know, boy. They just don't get it. So I'm a little bit baffled. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. So those were some of the accidents that happened over the weekend. I'm aware that we don't get all of them, but we tend to get a good majority of them. And that's what we had reported. So as a note, I saw last night that someone had messaged saying, oh, you know, that's my boyfriend's vehicle or whatever. Could you take the accident down? And I'm like, let me make it very, very clear. You should never make such a request of CMR. Now, let me talk about the pedestrian hit and run, because this one is a perfect example, right? So we know that this young man, he actually works at Hurley's. I'll tell you guys who he is. So next time you see him, say a special hello. But he is, the little guy, Kenny? All Caymanians will know who he is, pretty much. But he does the carts. So he does he is always in the parking lot, and he puts the carts together for you, or for Hurley's, I should say. And so he does that quite a bit. Sorry, I wanted to sneeze. So Kenny's his name, and poor Kenny was crossing the street on Smith Road and got licked down by a car, and they didn't stop. And I think at first people thought it was extremely serious because, he was bleeding from his head. I got video footage of that. We opted not to put it up because, we didn't know who he was, or if he was going to die from this. So, sometimes we got to make a judgment call. One video wasn't too bad because you couldn't really tell who the person was or anything. Like, if you can't really see the person, it's from a distance. I'm like, and then another one was a bit closer up. So we got two videos with poor Kenny. And I'm happy to report that it looks like Kenny's going to be just fine. But like I said earlier to Aaron, is apparently after he got licked down, a nurse was one of the first people on the scene to stop, and other people stopped to assist her. And I heard that she was like trying to direct traffic and trying to tell people, there's an incident here. And people were like honking and telling her to get out the way. And I'm not sure if they didn't realize what was going on. But, a little bit of like, just slow down. What's your hurry? If you see people in the middle of the road who have stopped and who pulled over, something is probably going on. And they're trying to prevent Kenny from getting ran over a second time, which undoubtedly would have killed him. And these people are like honking on the horn, get out of the way. And I'm like, what the heck? Carol says speeding and drinking. I nearly had a head-on with a bus this morning. Oh my God, coming out of West Bay at 6:15. The bus was busy overtaking traffic, heading into West Bay, and thankfully the road is wide enough for me to swerve into the side to avoid that. Wow. Oh my. Make sure you report this bus driver. I don't know if you got any details on the bus number or anything like that, but bus drivers in particular, also very, very reckless. And I feel like because they are involved in public transport, we really should report them to the relevant authorities. There was a rogue bus driver some years back who was always in the eastern districts, and they were just like a bat out of hell. Like every single morning, and the earlier you got up, they were always seemed like they were running late. So they were moving and booking it. And, they were running people off the road. I mean, like at 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock before traffic, this was years ago, before traffic really started. Good morning, Jonathan, joining us from St. Martin. So yeah, they were always really booking it. And I remember one time calling the authorities on this person. I said, listen, this person is really reckless. And it's not the first time that I've seen them out and about on the roadway and really causing a havoc. And come to find out, they actually had multiple reports on this person. So at some point, the CIPS contacted me and they said, listen, they've decided to charge the person with careless driving or whatever, because it's an ongoing issue. And they were wondering if, I would provide a statement and go to court if it came to that. And I said, yeah, because these people this driver is going to kill somebody. I remember him close to like the Hurley's intersection, just that roundabout, just overtaking and doing like crazy stuff. And it was like, come on. We saw the vehicle that turned over. Was that on Thursday? The heavy equipment vehicle that turned over. I think we might have spoken about this one already. I'm trying to remember what day that was. But the heavy equipment vehicle that turned over, no doubt, taken the roundabout a little too fast. And, I don't know how well it was secured on the transport vehicle, but it toppled right over. And you know what? That could have been a car that it toppled over on. That could have been a pedestrian in the wrong place at the wrong time that the heavy equipment toppled over on, and then you'd be dead, because that's got to weigh a good 1,000+ pounds, right? So that's not going to just topple over on you and you're going to walk away with minor injuries. And this is what people need to recognize, is they are changing the course of people's lives with their reckless behavior. You know, poor Carol, imagine if that was a head-on collision this morning, we'd be reporting on it, didn't even know that it was our friend on the show, Carol, who was in a head-on collision. You know, everybody has family and loved ones that care about them, folks, and your crazy driving is simply endangering people's lives. Chantel says driving Cayman is so dangerous now. People are crazy. They are. And I think it's just bad drivers is the number one thing. So whether that means they're driving too fast, they're not paying attention, they're distracted, they're drinking and driving, whatever the situation is. I bet you, Carol, that he was probably late for his route and, you know, just being incredibly reckless. It's your girl, Zara, says the car could have a failure as well. Well, Zara, I don't know how often that happens, but I'm willing to bet that probably happens in less than 0.01% of the cases, that it's actually some sort of a mechanical failure. You're more likely to probably have a heart attack driving and have it be because of that, while you've had an accident, than a mechanical failure. You know, we do, I think, a fairly good job of maintaining vehicles on the roads here. You're supposed to get an annual inspection, or, you know, whenever you, depending on the car, because if it's a brand new car, you don't have to do it every year. You can go a couple of years without an inspection, but, you know, they check things like your brakes and whatever. But guess what? If someone isn't maintaining their vehicle, that's not the vehicle. That's just not a mechanical failure. That's, again, the person, the vehicle owner. And you have a responsibility. I see little Missy's up. You have a responsibility to ensure, good morning. How are you? You have a responsibility to ensure that your vehicle is roadworthy. So, all right, let's take a little commercial break. We're going to get Miss Gianna. Did you say good morning to everyone? Good morning. All right. We're going to take a little break so that we can get Miss Gigi settled with maybe some breakfast. And we're going to be right back after these messages.
Ho, ho, ho! I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Don't make it a blue Christmas by delaying on ordering your propane for that Cayman beef and turkey. Be like the 3 wise men who rode through the night and prepare for the 12 days of Christmas. Hark! Propane makes all the herald angels sing. Feliz Navidad! Contact Home Gas early for your Christmas propane order at 949-7474.
Christmas time is about family, caroling, church services, and
dirty dishes, cleaning floors, and power washing your house.
don't let the ghost of Christmas chores make you a Scrooge. Call Reliable Industries today for all of your house cleaning needs. Our professional services are perfect for Christmas time to let you forget the hassle of housework and focus on the important things, spending quality time with your family. Reliable Industries offers an array of gold standard residential home services, including professional house cleaning, window washing, pressure washing, HEPA filter cleaning, professional kitchen hood cleaning services, and more. A happy home is a healthy home, and there's no time like the holiday season to make your home the happiest. Don't forget that Reliable offers gift certificates and gift baskets for your loved ones. Call Reliable Industries today at 949-9303 to speak to a customer service rep to book your services. Reliable, serving the community for over 30 years with quality and pride. Have you been procrastinating on your Christmas shopping? You'll have until December 17th to get all of Santa's packages to the Aeropost offices in Miami. Aeropost professional and dedicated staff are working around the clock to ensure your goods are in Cayman and available for pickup at your offices. Don't forget our industry-leading shopping and delivery portal keeps you in the know about the status of your packages at any given time. Aeropost, Christmas shopping and deliveries made easy. 'Tis the season for big deals at Small Deals Outlet. Visit us for the latest gadgets, small electronics, phone cases, cables, and so much more. Small Deals Outlet specializes in all 2021 trending stocking stuffers like portable Wi-Fi routers, office desks and chairs, straightening hairbrushes, earbuds, and charging cables. Visit us today in the Thompson Building or conveniently order online at smalldealsoutlet.com and have it delivered to you. 'Tis the season for big deals at Small Deals Outlet. Call 746-7054 for more info.
Ho, ho, ho! I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Don't make it a blue Christmas by delaying on ordering your propane for that Cayman beef and turkey. Be like the 3 wise men who rode through the night and prepare for the 12 days of Christmas. Hark! Propane makes all the herald angels sing. Feliz Navidad! Contact Home Gas early for your Christmas propane order at 949-7474.
All right, folks, welcome back, and thank you so much for your patience. Mummy duties come first, as you guys know. Good morning, John. Catherine says all around about, blocked in one way or another, plants, trees, walls, etc. You're saying all roundabouts? And yet I don't think that that's the cause of the accidents. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't know. Good morning, Miss Morna. Mr. Blair, he's in Kingston for Christmas, sounds like. It says that everyone seems excited and it's going to be, he says, I'm already looking like Christmas. Yes, I've been wearing a lot more red. I only have a few red pieces in my closet, but I have been taking them out, digging them out of the back and wearing them because 'tis the season to be festive. I don't think I have any like solid green shirts that really look like Christmas. El Rey says, yes, too much roundabouts. El Rey says donkey drivers. Ms. Sue says 3 lanes coming off the bypass, all speeding. Yes, Pansy, good morning. Yeah, I think that they might want to reconsider the whole idea of the roundabouts, to be quite honest. So we're hoping that, by the way, that this week we can have the premiere on Wednesday. We'll see how that goes. And just a child safety message. And then we're going to play a little bit later on a message from, I was watching the press conference on Thursday and I was commenting that one of the sort of commercials that I saw was really, really good. I thought it was very, very effective. And the Red Cross said that they actually were the ones who produced that commercial. I thought it's fantastic. So they've shared that with us. So we're going to pull that up here in a bit as well.
Each day, my staff and I work hard to ensure the health and safety of every child entrusted within our care during these extraordinary times.
In so doing, we continue to adapt to changing circumstances.
Implement the safety protocols outlined in the COVID-19 guidance for educational institutions and follow the advice of our public health officials.
I realize that the recent COVID-19 cases in our school have heightened your concerns about your children's safety, and rightfully so.
As such, I welcome your continued partnership as we work to ensure the health and safety of our school community.
I urge you, talk with your children about physical distancing, proper hand washing, and respiratory hygiene, and the other safety measures.
And follow the advice of our public health officials, as I'm certain that we can all be more effective together.
All right, folks. I had to throw in another quick break in there. Little Miss had to go to the bathroom and she has to tell me, I'd like to go to the bathroom. She's only 5, so at that age, you still have to request things like that. Damien says, are these stats of accidents from other countries that use roundabouts? Are there any stats? That's a good question. And I don't really know, because roundabouts are supposed to be very, very helpful with the flow of traffic. So supposedly they are the way to go when it comes to, just making traffic flow better. But I feel like Cayman has so many of them, and we have really complicated the process by putting in these 3-lane roundabouts, which really add another level of complexity. Lily says that she thinks that the roundabouts are too wide as well. Too wide. Yes, Al Ray, that was poor little Kenny. Really nice fella. But I think he's going to be okay from what I've heard. So yeah, poor Kenny. And listen, as a pedestrian, you are at risk in a big way for being licked down by a vehicle, not just a pedestrian, but even if you're a cyclist. Unfortunately, there was a study that was done. Speaking of studies, Damien, there was a study that was done many, many years ago, and it's called the gorilla effect. I don't know if you guys have ever read this textbook, but I feel like once we launch our book club coming in 2022, this is one of those textbooks that we really need to read, because trust me, when I initially read it, I was like in awe of the information that they shared. But they talked about this video that people were shown, right? And it's one of those things where I think it's either called the gorilla effect or the monkey business illusion. Well, they'll have you watch like a game, like people are playing basketball hoops, right? And they actually throw a gorilla in the middle of it. Like he walks across the screen in a full gorilla suit and everything. And do you know that the vast majority of people actually do not see the gorilla? Like, it's crazy. It's called, I'll share this link with you guys because it's really, really super interesting. But it's an experiment that they did with young people, again, just bouncing a ball. And the observer is asked to focus on counting the passes. So like bouncing it back and forth. And because you're so hyper-focused on that you actually miss the fact that at some point a gorilla walks across the screen. Now you're thinking to yourself, this is impossible. That can't be. But they have repeated this experiment time and time again. And so one of the interesting things that the textbook that I read, I think it's called the Gorilla Experiment, focus in on is that when it comes to things like accidents, the same principle applies. So we only see what we are looking for. And the most interesting part of this, apparently, is when you are in a vehicle and you're driving, what you're looking for is other drivers and not pedestrians and not cyclists. Now, I know that sounds really, really crazy. So you might see them. I'm not saying that you're not going to see them at all. What I'm saying is your ability to see them is significantly reduced, like a lot. And that's what it is, right? So it sounds, like I said, it sounds really crazy, but this is an actual experiment that they've done. And so one of the interesting things that the book said was that if you decide to be a pedestrian, you have to walk, or you're on a bicycle, whatever, you need to understand the dynamics of the fact that other people don't see you as much as you think. So you know how you walk out in front of a car and boom, they hit you and you're like, well, didn't you see me? Actually, they probably didn't. So you need to do things that encourage people to see you. What are some of the things that you can do? Well, make sure that you wear clothing that is bright, that's different, that really stands out. Proper lighting, especially at night, especially at dusk and at night. You've got to wear clothing that really stands out, or flashing light, or something that's going to capture the attention of drivers more than them just driving, because they simply are not going to see you. And it's one of the reasons why pedestrians and drivers are so incredibly at risk. So Ms. Carroll says, don't blame the roundabouts. So El Rey says, didn't the trailer tires blow out and cause the crane accident? Well, I don't know anything about that, to be honest. I haven't heard that. So that's El Rey. That's the first. If that's the case, I mean, that would obviously provide a more plausible explanation. But again, I kind of feel like, there were other people who said that they saw the vehicle going a little bit too fast before the accident. And so more people think that it was speed more than anything else. So Maria says, I don't think that the roundabouts here give enough time to get from one inside lane to the outside lane. Well, that's the thing, Maria. I don't know of any roundabouts. When you say they don't give enough time, a roundabout's normally way bigger to give you more time, but we don't have the land space for roundabout. I think that's the whole idea, right? Is that, it saves on like having to do traffic stops and traffic lights and that sort of thing. So what happens is if you don't have enough time, you just go around the roundabout again. The NRA said this and the RCIPS said this when they were on last week. You simply go around one more time. You can go around the roundabout as much as you want. That's why it's called a roundabout. And sometimes you do miss, your turn. And there's no harm in going around the roundabout, giving yourself a little bit more time to maneuver. And sometimes you're not just giving yourself a little bit more time, but what you're actually doing is you're looking for better clearance, but it is a split-second decision. And if you're an inexperienced driver or you have all these other things that are interfering with your ability to drive properly, then I do feel like anything is possible. So we just got to really just be more careful. I'll tell you the truth. I'm going to try to find that book. I think the book is called The Gorilla. I'm trying to find it here because I think I ordered it. It was one of my ebooks from Amazon. It's called The Invisible Gorilla and Other Intuitions Deceive Us, back in 2010. I ordered this book. Wow, back in 2010. That was a long time ago. So we need to add that to our list for we need to add that to our reading list because it is very, very interesting. Here's an excerpt from it. Let me just read this. Here's one thing that they say, that we must be reminded not to judge a book by its cover because we take outward appearances to be accurate advertisements of inner unseen qualities. Remember just recently we were talking about the impact of first impressions? So it goes on to say we need to be told that a penny saved is a penny earned because we think about cash coming in differently from money we already have. Aphorisms like that exist largely to help us avoid the mistakes that intuition can cause. So this is really, it's talking about how your intuition isn't as accurate as you think, right? So likewise, Benjamin Franklin's observation about extremely hard things suggests we should question the intuitive belief that we understand ourselves well. This ties in extremely well into something else that we've talked about on this program, which is the whole Dunning-Kruger effect, where people tend to think, and there's scientific research to show, that the less you know about a subject, the more you think you know about it, and that you're an expert in it. And it goes on to say that as we go through life, we act as though we know how our minds work and why we behave the way that we believe. And it is surprising how often we really have no clue. I mean, so you've got to really check this out. The Invisible Gorilla is a book about 6 everyday illusions that profoundly influence our lives. The illusion of attention, memory, confidence, knowledge, cause and potential. And these are all distorted beliefs we hold about our minds that are not just wrong, but wrong in dangerous ways. So this book actually explores the when and the why and how these illusions affects us and the consequences they have for human affairs and how we can overcome or minimize their impact. I mean, this is, oh my God, now that I'm reading just a little bit of this book, I'm like, I need to reread the book. This was really good. One of the great things about Kindle is it's always in your collection. So I can just log into my Kindle app and it's going to be right there, right? Although I ordered it, when was that? 12 years ago? 2010? So then they go on to talk about the, this one is the first chapter says, I think I would have seen that. And they give you some real life examples of how people think they saw something or that they would have seen something, and they just get it completely wrong. Some really interesting life examples. So here it says around 2:00 on a cold, overcast morning of January the 25th, 1995, a group of 4 Black men left the scene of a shooting at a hamburger restaurant in the Grove Hall section of Boston. As they drove away in a gold Lexus, the police radio erroneously announced that the victim was a cop, leading officers from several districts to join in a 10-mile high-speed chase. In the 15 to 20 minutes of mayhem that ensued, one police car veered off the road and crashed into a parked van. Eventually, the Lexus skidded to a stop in a cul-de-sac on Woodruff Way in the Mattapan neighborhood, and the suspects fled the car and ran in different directions. Then it goes on to say that one suspect, and they give his details, his age, and what he was wearing, exited the back passenger side of the car and sprinted towards a chain link fence on the side of the cul-de-sac. The first car in pursuit, an unmarked police car, stopped to the left of the Lexus. Michael Cox, a decorated officer from the police anti-gang unit who'd grown up in the nearby Roxborough area, got out of the passenger seat and took off after Brown. Cox, who's also Black, was in plain clothes that night, and he wore jeans, a black hoodie, and a parka. He got to the fence just after Brown, and Brown scrambled over the top. His jacket got stuck in the metal. So Cox reached for Brown and tried to pull him back, but Brown managed to fall to the other side. So it goes into all the details, because the details of this is really, really important, right? And then it talks about how the other suspects were being pursued by the other cops and stuff like that. And then let me get to the point that really, I mean, you kind of really need to read the details though. So let me see. So it says that that apparently Officer Cox got killed. Hold on one second. So it says that someone wasn't involved in the assault of Officer Cox, but he began his pursuit of Brown right as Cox was being pulled over the fence. And so basically Officer Cox was beaten. And I think he must have died, because although the other murder suspects were caught and that case was considered solved, the assault on Officer Cox remained wide open. And for the next 2 years, internal police investigators and a grand jury sought answers about what happened at the cul-de-sac. Which cops beat Cox? So Cox, remember, was actually the police officer. He's a cop himself, but he is a Black man, and he actually got beaten up. So I skipped this part, but this is actually quite important. So another police officer had mistaken him for a suspect, and several officers then beat up Cox, kicking him in the head, back, face, and mouth. And after a few moments, someone yelled, "Stop, stop, stop. He's a cop. He's a cop." And at that point, the officers fled. So he got beat up by his own officers, and they left Cox lying unconscious on the ground with facial wounds, a concussion, and kidney damage. That's how badly they had beaten him, right? And so, of course, they were looking to bring these officers to justice, because, you know, you're not supposed to just beat someone. And Cox wasn't doing anything. He was the one who was actually chasing one of the suspects. So it goes into a lot of detail about how they were how they were, what's the word I'm looking for? Interrogated, and all of what came out of this. And so it said that, it was just one of those things where they had a really hard time even coming to any conclusions about which specific cops were involved in this. So you guys got to read this book. I'm telling you, this is at the top of our list. And one of the guys, they got one guy, but it was they only charged him with, I think, perjury and something else. So he was the only one charged in the case, and they charged him with perjury and obstruction of justice. And they said, this is the part that's interesting. The prosecutors were convinced that Connolly, this is this other officer, was testifying, is what they call it, not testifying, but testifying, which is outlandishly claiming under oath not to have seen what was going on right before his eyes. And according to this theory, just like the officers who filed reports denying any knowledge of the beating, Connolly wouldn't rat out his fellow cops. So that was the belief that people had. But instead, they were like, okay, this is an officer just holding his ground because he's trying to protect other police officers. So when they got around to it, I think that this principle really played into it, that they didn't see what they thought they saw, or there was something in front of them that they just didn't see at all. So they go on to then talk about the gorilla's inner midst, right? And then this Harvard experiment, again, with the ball and whatever, how you just don't see the gorilla walk across the street, and the gorilla was right there in front of you the entire time. And apparently they can actually have the gorilla pass more than once. And they'll ask people, did you see anything unusual while you were counting the ball? And people say, nope. Did you notice anyone other than the players? Nope. Did you notice a gorilla? And people are like, what? A gorilla? No, there's no gorilla in that. And they just didn't see it. So roughly half of the subjects in the study did not notice the gorilla. And, they've repeated this experiment time and time again with different conditions, diverse audiences, multiple countries, and it remains very much the same, that half of the people do not see the gorilla. That's 50%. That's a pretty big number, right? And you think to yourself, how is it possible that people could not see this gorilla? So this is the first illusion, and it says the gorilla study illustrates, perhaps more dramatically than any other, the powerful and pervasive influence of the illusion of attention. So we experience far less of our visual world than we think we do. And if we were really fully aware of the limits to attention, the illusion would vanish. So again, they then talk about, they actually go into talking about that case some more, and how this case is a perfect example of that. So when you have an expectation of something in your head, believe me when I tell you that your brain has a way of making you see what you expected to see. So when you're counting the balls, you're only expecting to see balls on the screen, like people hitting. You're not expecting to see a gorilla. And as outlandish as it sounds, if you're not expecting to see something, then, you're just not going to see it. So yes, Kenny's incident was a hit and run. I think that honestly, whoever did that, maybe they just got scared. I don't know. Maybe they just panicked and they kept going. And and again, we make assumptions like, what kind of horrible person hits another person and doesn't stop? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt now that I'm thinking about these assumptions that we make, right? Let's not assume that they're a horrible person. Maybe they just didn't see Kenny and then they panicked, because it's the same reason why people panic when somebody chases them. So you know how for many, many years, I've talked about the issues with police chases, especially in this jurisdiction, with such road conditions and limitations, right? And people have always said to me time and time again, well, you're not going to run if you didn't do anything wrong. And I say, you know what? That's an assumption that a lot of people make that actually isn't correct. You will run if people chase you. It's like, have you ever seen people like running? I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like this, where something happens at a mall and then all of a sudden everybody starts running. This is why stampedes happen. You don't even know why people are running, but you're going to join in and start running in the exact same direction. So if you're standing up in a mall and you see 10 people start running this way, you have no clue why they're running, right? They're just running like, run. They're telling each other, run. They're passing you. Your brain goes into fight or flight mode, right? One thing you're not going to do is you're not going to run in the opposite direction because you think to yourself, there's a crowd running that way for a reason. They're running from danger. They're running from something. And so you're going to just run as well, not even knowing why they're running or what this is all about. Because your brain just tells you this is just one of those things that if people are running, they must be running from something. Something must have happened. And I think it's the same way when you see someone being chased, you want to assume that they have done something and that's why they're actually running. And I think that it's one of those things that just isn't correct. Oh, look, it's Carlos. Carlos, are you on your meds? You're behaving yourself. He says, are people still being critical of the new government and saying bad things about them? People will be critical of all governments. We're going to talk about that here in a second. I think that that's what people do as well. So Damien says a driving course with different scenarios. Well, we have, in my opinion, a very bare minimum. I don't know that it's a driving course, but the driving test seems super easy. By the way, on Friday, did you guys see that we published an article about a young lady who was convicted for basically saying that people had passed their driver's licensing test when they hadn't? Kimberly Riley is her name. And so this was a very long case. I don't know what it is, but the anti-corruption cases. Is it that they're taking their sweet time so much so that, they really do a job of just making sure that I don't know, but they seem to take a really long time. So Kimberly, let me see if I can find her photo here. I think you guys might have seen this article. She was actually convicted and sentenced on Friday. This is why the story was up on Friday, of essentially taking money from people and nobody else. None of the people she took money from, which is very interesting, have been held to account. I do think that they should be prosecuted as well. But it's one of those things where you want to get the person, especially the person who is working for government, who's in the system, you want to get them convicted because her breach of trust is different than some outside person outside of DVDL breaching trust, right? So Kimberly is now going to spend some time in jail. This is a mother of, I think, 2 or 3 kids. A lot of people are saying, oh, but why is it that the Caymanian always has to go to jail? Well, this isn't about the Caymanian going to jail. This is about the fact that she is the one who worked for DVDL. She was the one who worked for the driver's licensing department. And so her breach of trust, because she's the one who's in a position of trust, is different than people on the outside trying to take advantage of the system. Because let's be very, very clear, they would not be in a position to take advantage of the system if somebody like her wasn't on the inside willing to allow them to do just that, right? So you're not going to perpetrate a fraud on DVDL if you don't have someone on the inside willing to say, oh, yes, you took a test, which you never took. So the anti-corruption unit, they never said exactly what the details were, but this is what she was doing. She was taking money from people and entering it in the system to basically say that those persons had taken the test. And here's the irony of it. They actually paid for the test, So this isn't a situation where they were not paying for the test. They were paying for the test. And they were paying for the written test and the driving test. And she would give them a receipt. So technically the receipt was valid. But the problem with it is they actually had not done the exams. So they hadn't taken the driving test and they had not done the written test. And so I feel like it took them a while to catch her because it was just one of those things where, you know, on the face of it, a legit transaction has happened. So the person has paid and they have been issued a receipt. It's only when you go into the details to look at, okay, what were their test results, that you would go, hold on a second. There are no test results in the system for this person. How can they be no test results if someone actually took the test? And so then eventually, you know, after looking at a number of instances with her, they discovered that this was a scam that she was actually running. Very, very unfortunate, I must say. So now she's off to jail, you know, away from her kids for Christmas. And my God, I mean, I don't know who's going to be looking after these poor children, but that Jamaican husband she has should have no contact with her older child, who's about 12 or 13 years old. Because I'm going to tell y'all why. She has a young baby for this guy. This is another one of those situations I look at and I think to myself, this is probably a marriage of convenience. He's definitely using her. But, you know, what do you do when someone allows themselves to be used? You know, is that just because you're stupid enough to be used? Is that a marriage of convenience, or are you just stupid? So hear me out. Hear me out on this, right? Let's take a crazy example. So let's look at a Kim Kardashian. Not Kim. What's her name's Khloe. Khloe is obviously a person with low self-esteem, despite having millions of dollars in the bank account, living a very luxurious life, and I think she's relatively pretty. I think she's probably done a little bit too much plastic surgery, especially on that nose at the moment. But you know, she's a decent looking girl. Put on a little bit of makeup, she looks good. She's lost tons of weight. I mean, she's got a body that most people would die for. And yet she maintains this relationship with her baby daddy, Tristan Thompson, that makes any sensible woman just shake her head. And we're all like, what is wrong with Khloe? Nobody does that who has self-esteem. Like, if you care about yourself, you don't do that. So when you look at a situation like that, do you think to yourself, that's a marriage of convenience? No. I mean, they're not married, but you know what I mean? Is that a relationship of convenience? That is just a woman who is low self-esteem. Most of us would say stupid for her man, you know, is going to believe him despite evidence of the contrary. Like, Khloe's the type of girl who this man has cheated on her numerous times while she was pregnant, the whole 9 yards. And what does she do? The latest cheating scam, like, oh, I want to talk to the woman. Like, I need verifiable, because of what? It's so unbelievable that he would be cheating on you yet again. It's like, Khloe, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't even know what sensible woman reaches out to the other woman, because your relationship isn't with the other woman. It's with this guy who keeps cheating on you. So when I think about a situation like that, I look at this young lady and I think to myself, is it possible for her in her mind that this actually isn't a marriage of convenience, but for him it is? Hello, Missy. So it's probably one of those situations, folks, where she thinks, oh yeah, this guy might actually care about me and he might actually love me. And he's just here for an anchor baby so he can continue to stay in the Cayman Islands. Hello. Oh, look at the filter in her face. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. Look at you with those lashes. All right. Remember, Mommy's doing her show. She looks like she wants to be on camera. Say hi to everybody. You gonna go watch the show? Okay. So, you know, I look at Kimberly and I think maybe she's just completely clueless, but she is also being extremely stupid and doing things that make absolutely no sense. Here's a perfect example. So Kimberly has a baby by this guy recently, maybe last year or the year before. He's a toddler now, maybe. And while she's in the hospital giving birth to this man's child, the allegations are that he was going after her 12-year-old daughter, 11, 12 years old, going after her in a sexual way. Let me be very clear about what I'm saying here. Okay. Now, y'all know how I feel about that. And I'm going to watch my language because there is a 5-year-old in the room. But this POS was doing that. And I believe the child. The child reported it. Nothing has come of it. Mass Unit is like, oh, well, we don't have any evidence. What were you waiting on? What kind of evidence you're looking for exactly? He attempted to be very inappropriate with this child. Now, Kimberly, being as desperate as she is for a man, decides to hunker down and stand by her man and not believe her own child. Like, for me, the driver's licensing thing is an offense without a doubt. But I kind of feel like she should be going to jail for other reasons, for not believing your teenage daughter, not even a teenager yet, that this man is trying to go on with some foolishness about her. With her child, I mean. So I really hope that whatever the situation is now, that man does not have access to that little girl at no times, because Kimberly has made a decision that has uprooted her entire family. The husband, let me be very clear. Remember the case some time ago? Let me tell you who her husband is, because you're going to find this super interesting as well. So this guy is not without, he's another Tristan Thompson. There's like a history there that would make any sensible person realize that, oh yeah, this is a guy that you definitely want to watch around your children. Here's why. I'm going to show you all the screen. And then you tell me why you would believe this man over a 12-year-old child. Remember this? Jamauno Riley charged with indecent assault. This is back in 2019, November 2019. He was charged with basically the M word. You guys can see it here. I'm going to point it out to you because I can't say it. In his car on February 23rd, 2019 in Walker's Road, in the vicinity of a private school. So a female jogger was walking by when she saw a silver Honda Accord stop about 50 meters in front of her. And the suspicious vehicle, she took note of the suspicious vehicle, took a picture of it with her phone. And then when she approached the vehicle to pass, she saw that the driver was in the vehicle pleasuring himself. Wow. This is the sicko that Kimberly has married. So this woman was so shocked by what she saw, she pelted a rock at him, and then he quickly drove off. Well, the story goes that at first he claimed that it wasn't him and whatever, but this woman was smart enough to actually have a photo. And I believe that they actually went back and checked CCTV footage in the area. Now imagine he's going to not even cop to this at all, right? And so then after doing all of that, they find out that the vehicle was owned by his father, but it was him. He had no valid Cayman license at the time. She probably gave him, I wonder if this is how they got onto her. Maybe she gave him a license without having him take a test too. I don't know. I'm just kind of now speculating in my head, right? But evidently he had no license at the time. And, there have been other complaints that we had received about him when it comes to underage girls, specifically people in her family. So listen, folks, this is the caliber of individual, again, that we are importing into the Cayman Islands. And who do you blame for this? I hear a lot of people wanting to blame the authorities for this type of behavior. And I say, you can't blame the politicians because they're not the ones, well, most of them are not the ones who are making these kind of poor decisions and importing people who will do this sort of stuff to our community. This dude doesn't care anything about the Cayman Islands or anybody else, right? And believe it or not, I hear that other family members of his have gotten wind of the fact that there are desperate Caymanian women. They're so desperate, all they want is a man. They don't care about the caliber of the man. And any DICK, take it as a name, like Tom, Dick, and Harry, will do. And so it just doesn't matter to them. They'll jump on anything. and marry anything and import anything into this community. And so, disgusting. Yes. This reminds me of another case. This one is coming up for sentencing. It was postponed this month, so he'll be up for sentencing in January. But remember the other one, hate to say it, but another Jamaican national. His name is Neville Passard. He was the one who was jumping on the airplane and about to leave the jurisdiction. Now, you guys remember I told you this last week that apparently someone in Jamaica reached out, one of his earlier victims, and said, this man assaulted me when I was 7 years old, and this was 20 years ago, whatever it was. And nobody believed me. My mother didn't believe me. You know, I told and nobody wanted to believe me. And in his community in Jamaica, apparently, because I've had people reach out to me, his family is telling people, oh, this is all fake rumors. He's not, they even said he's not in jail. He's incarcerated right now, waiting his sentence, because he will get an incarceration out of this, right? So he's been now convicted of molesting 6 children, six girls here in the Cayman Islands, okay? And his family in Jamaica are trying to pretend that this man isn't a monster. And so they're going around telling people in their little community there that no, the mother of these children made up lies on him because she had some issue with him and this isn't true and da-da-da-da. Really? And then lo and behold, someone saw the article in CMR and reached out all the way from Jamaica and his little Hobunk town, I don't know where he's from, some little small town, and said, this isn't the first time this man has done this. He did it to me. I'm maybe one of his earliest victims, because they don't tend to stop until they are stopped, which means incarcerated or somebody kills him, you know, for doing this sort of thing to their child. And so I wasn't surprised by that. But what I'm surprised at is apparently his family in Jamaica is still telling people in their community that this is all a lie. No, he's not in jail. You know, this isn't true. And I'm like, when I have people reach out to me trying to get the true story, I'm like, really? They have the audacity to try to protect this man after what he's done? But you see, now he's our problem, right? He's in our community. So I'm waiting to see, after he served his time, what sort of deportation order will be coming his way. Because guess what? He is married to a Caymanian woman. And if that Caymanian woman, just like with Coach, what was the former coach name from Trinidad? Whatever his name was, child molester coach. Just like him, if his wife, which in that case was Sidoni Mothersill, decides to really hold steadfast to, you know, keeping him in this jurisdiction, legally, it's a fight on the hands of the Works and Immigration Department. Oh, he has a right to family life and this and that. I'm like, really? I think you kind of lose that right to family life when you start to molest people's children. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that case for sure. But yeah, so this is Kimberly's husband, convicted of he actually ended up pleading guilty, as I recall, to the indecent assault charge. And let me tell y'all what I kind of think he didn't even spend a day in jail, to be honest. Hold on. So in September of 2020, he ended up admitting to it. Let me show y'all another picture of him just in case. Because maybe the 9 months that she's in jail, he's going to be looking a new Caymanian fool. So there he is. Take a good look, folks, just in case. And he's got a brother, multiple brothers that are looking for Caymanian fools as well. I think one has already latched on to Kimberly's friend. So here you go. So he actually ended up pleading guilty to the indecent exposure. And then I think he received 18 months probation. There we go. With conditions, including attending an intervention program, adhering to any recommendations made by the counseling center, and having absolutely no contact with the victim. Well, the victim didn't even know him. So that's why we put in here, well, that should be easy. But maybe they should be careful who else he has contact with. Given that this is a man who would do this sort of thing to a total stranger, what do you think he would do to people around him? He's from St. Catherine. And again, claiming that he has a company named Riley's Enterprises, ooh, big company. Caymanian Food taking out business license for him. Actually, he didn't even have a business license. Just look at the comment section here. Dexter Ebanks says, where the hell are the members of the churches on these and other serious issues such as this? Speak up, folks. Oh, I forgot. That isn't a sin. Just being gay or lesbian. I'm seeing this comment for the first time. It's so sad when these good old Christians are using the Bible to make their point. I almost forgot that some of the men of yesteryear that revised the Bible didn't have any respect for or didn't feel that women were their equal. Many times I've heard from some of these so-called Christians that women have to do the biddings of their husband according to the Bible. God created every human being in his own image. Dexter Lehman Ebanks, and he even put his phone number. That's what you, Mr. Dexter. Shane says, you said that. No one else did. Nicole said one word, deportation. Well, he hasn't been deported because he actually didn't get a jail sentence of over a year. He got probation. So he's still here, still amongst us. 20 morning. Johan says, don't know these people, but why are you bringing all this heat and snitching during a joyous Christmas period? Well, you know what? Sadly, this is the thing, Johan, is when you have a monster like this, you get to enjoy your Christmas because you don't have him in your life. This little girl who now has no mother because the mother has made poor choices and is off to jail has to potentially live with this man. And so, you know, this has to be brought to people's attention. So this isn't about snitching and people enjoying themselves during Christmas. This is about no matter what time of year it is, children will be subjected to abuse, whether it's Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, Hanukkah, you know, it does not matter. Children have to be subjected to abuse in this community and other communities around the world. And I'm firstly concerned about this community and the poor children that we're damaging, who then become the problem children and adults and teens of tomorrow. So I'm sorry if this is taken away from your Christmas joy, but you know, you do have a choice not to listen, Johan. You can just turn it off. If you want to continue to believe in the miracle of Christmas and that nothing bad happens at Christmas, then you can do so. Just turn it off and go listen to some Christmas music. So I don't know what's going on between you and Carlos, but I'm going to leave that up to the two of you. But anyway, you see how people are interconnected, folks. We were talking about Kimberly Riley and her story, but she doesn't live in isolation. This is my whole entire point, right? So she doesn't get to live in a little cubbyhole by herself. Her decision, and this is why we talk about it, impacts other people in the community, including her family, including her children. Her decisions, even who she marries. Yes, on the one hand, it is none of her business if this was a situation that wasn't hurting innocent members of this community. You know, there's a lot of people who enter into marriages of convenience or whatever we want to call them. And yes, we all raise an eyebrow because normally they are hurting this community in more ways than people are willing to admit. In this case, we have real reason to be concerned that children are in danger. And I'm sorry, but you know what? If he is going to expose himself and do that to a total stranger, if he's going to allegedly go after a preteen girl, even his own son may not be safe in his care. Let's be very, very honest here. Okay? All right, let's keep it moving, folks. It is Monday Rewind show, so we're going to recap all the things that happened over the weekend. Let's take a commercial break, and then we're going to switch things up a little bit right after these messages.
Looking for the perfect gift for your loved ones? Why not give them the gift of Reliable Supplies? That's right. Reliable Supplies offers beautiful custom gift baskets with the products of your choice. We carry a wide range of cleaning and disinfecting products and gift certificates to fill your Christmas gift baskets. Gift certificates are ideal for any of our products or cleaning and industrial services. The perfect gift for your loved ones is the perfect gift from Reliable Supplies. Custom gift baskets with your favorite Reliable products. Contact Reliable Supplies for your gift baskets and gift certificates for the holiday season at 949-9303 or visit us at 313 Compass Drive, conveniently located off North Sound Road.
All right, folks. Welcome back to the program. Thank you guys so much. Damien says what's also sad is over 100,000 drone bomb drops for the last 5 years in Syria, killing children. No matter what race, belief, they're still children, and only when they get caught are they exposed. Sad to say, but yes. So let's talk about a few things, folks, as it relates to, again, in light of our Monday Rewind show, a few things that happened over the weekend. So as you guys know, on Saturday, we were really busy. We must have done I feel like we did 4 or 5 live streams during the day on Saturday because we were just all over the place. Last weekend before Christmas, everybody's out getting stuff done. And of course, everybody includes the politicians. They were out having their Christmas events. And a number of them were actually in the process of doing their Christmas, handing out presents for the kids and that sort of thing. So I must say that it went well for the ones that I saw. Now, I missed a few that I didn't even know anything about that were going on Saturday as well. But it's kind of it reminded me of election time. The night before, every single candidate has a final hooray, show where they are just trying to get that last sort of, meeting out before people head to the polls, right? Last weekend, everybody's okay, we're going out, we're doing our presents, whatever. So we stopped by Sabrina Turner's office in Prospect. So she was there giving out food packets, as well as gift vouchers and cards. And she had, chickens and turkeys and whatever. I don't know if she had turkeys, but I know for sure she had chickens that she was giving out. We actually, there was a young lady who reached out to me on Saturday morning. She has a young child, just had a baby. And she said, oh, I'm in need. And I said, listen, no one ever wants to hear that a young mother in particular is in need of the basics, needs food or whatever supplies. And so I had a gift card that someone had given me. And I said to them, I'm actually not in need, especially food. I feel like I'm okay to go to the grocery store and shop for food, but I will take it and re-gift it, pass on the generosity to somebody else. So I was able to pass on that gift card to her. And I said, we need to at some point have a discussion about why you're in need. What's your situation? Why aren't you employed? Why don't you have a job? So she said, because the baby is relatively young, she hasn't had a time to look for a job. And I'm like, okay. because Cayman is small. One phone call and I get her whole life story from somebody else in terms of what she has been up to. And in most instances, I hate to say it, but a lot of these young mothers, it's surrounding no good men. That's a common theme, who end up ruining their lives. And, they pile you up with all these babies that they're certainly not going to take care of. And then we as a community have to find ways and means to support you. And I make this, I'm going to say this again, and I make this very, very clear. If you're a young person out there and you're starting to make decisions that are putting you down this path in life, be very, very cautious, because Cayman is not the Cayman of 15 or 20 years ago, where people would just freely give and you never had to worry about them asking you questions. We now live in a time where people want to know why. Why are you in this position? Why are you, Mama. Yes, Mama. I miss Dada. You miss Dada? Well, he has to work. Remember, we have bills to pay. And Christmas is here. So he's got lots of work to do, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, how about if I just give you a hug? Does that make you miss him less? Mm-hmm. Okay. Good girl. All right. Yes. So, folks, it's what a daddy's girl. It's one of those things where everybody has to understand that in life you've got to work. We all have to work. My job is a little different than some other people and what they do for a living, but we all have to get up and hustle. And this is what I said to the young lady on Saturday. I'm like, please understand that whenever people give you something, it's not because necessarily they have an overabundance. Sometimes they're making a sacrifice to help other people in the community. And when you recognize that, and you also know that people now question more than ever, why am I making the sacrifice? Who is this person? Some months back, we had a young lady who was in need of assistance, and she kind of told me her story. And I don't tend to really mention names, but I sent out a post on my WhatsApp saying, this young mother's having her third or fourth child or whatever. She's pregnant with this child now. And, she needs some place to stay. She needs some help. And the question that every single person came back with is, hey, King, didn't know you were there listening. So the question that every single person came back with was, why is she having another child? And I was like, oops. Well, that's the $1 million question. And everybody wanted to know. If she is unemployed and having such a hard time in life, why is she having another child? And I'm like, well, you know how these pregnancy things go. Once it's here, once it's about to come, you can't put it back in. You can't undo a pregnancy. It's kind of too late. And so I said, even to that person at the time, some people said they'll give you, she needed, I think, help with her rent or something like that. I can't remember what this exact story was now, but, some people were willing to give a little $100 here or there, but nobody's going to fork up $800, $1,200 for your rent to keep a thing over your head, a roof over your head, when you're out there making really poor decisions in life. Because people want to know, why are you pregnant again? And I legit had people say to me, third, fourth child, is she getting her tubes tied now? I was like, let me tell her on my phone what people are saying, because you need to be aware of how hard it is for me to even get. And I ended up paying half the rent out of my own pocket because I felt so bad for her situation. Nobody was really giving. I wanted to be like, oh yeah, I'll give $100. And I was like, girlfriend, I said, take my advice for it. And I pay directly to the landlord, and I give nobody cash in their hand. But I said, take my advice. People are not as easy to give anymore. It just is what it is. So listen, big shout out to all of the MPs who do understand the difficulty that a lot of people are facing this time of year, and they are willing to step up and assist. So yes, they give out stuff. So I saw some comments like, oh, is that treating? Is that this? Is that that? And I was like, I don't know if technically that's treating. I think normally they think of treating like during the actual election cycle, where vote buying might be more of a thing, but people might be buying your vote throughout the 4 years, right? But I think that there is an expectation that we live in a community where people expect their MPs to hand out Christmas presents for the kids at the very minimum. They expect MPs to help give you a turkey, or at least offer it to you. Because I had one person say, I might not need it, but at least offer. And there are people in the community who are in need. And what ends up happening is, it's politics. I've heard this happen down in Windsor Park, where the people that are in need are not actually they're not the ones who are getting the assistance that they need, which is really, really, really unfortunate, folks. I mean, let me be very, very clear here. It's not a good look. So there were tons of people out over the weekend doing that. And I think in one way it is good, because children who ordinarily are not going to get anything for Christmas because maybe their parents can't afford very much and they're having, tough times, they're able to get a little something for the Christmas as well. So big shout out to everyone we're going to do a little collage, because there was tons of people who were doing this, but I know Alwick was down in Windsor Park yesterday at the community park, handing out some presents and stuff there. He was giving masks and other things to the kids, and they all got a little wrapped present. Kathy Wilkes did her event on Saturday, so we were able to capture some of that. I know Mr. Bush was running late, but I believe he eventually had his at some point later in the day on Saturday as well. I heard that East End had theirs, so the MP in East End did his Christmas event on Saturday. Jay Ebanks from Northside had his as well. I did get some photos of Jay's event. And who else was there? There was obviously the Premier did his yesterday in Newlands. And my MP, which is Chris Saunders, was going around doing his traditional, he does a Christmas cake. What do we call it? The fruit cakes with a little Christmas message. And he personally delivers them. So he drives around to everybody's house and stuff like that as well. So I got a little joke for you guys to tell you about Chris. So he came to my residence and he said, I always leave this house to the last because I feel like, I always spend a little bit extra time here. So I got to give you all the big joke about this one. So I said, oh, okay. Now, last year when he came by, Kevin was here, and, Kevin was here again this year when he came by, which is kind of funny. So, I'm going to show you guys something. This is going to make you laugh. So I somehow finagled my MP into playing pickleball with me. I said, oh, minister, since you're here, let's have a little round of pickleball. And he's like, what on earth is pickleball? I said, oh, come on out. Let's go and have a look. And, I'm like, just hit the bat. Whoever gets we did 2 rounds. So I said, whoever gets to 14 first, I think the official scoring is 14 points. And then after that, we did another round. I think he wanted to come back because I did beat him the first time. So he's like, well, one more round. So here is the good minister in my little slither of a backyard. Notice all the gardening pots that the hubby has up. And so he was playing pickleball with me. And this is an action shot. And then let me show you guys the video. Oh gosh, I must tell you, he won the second round. He got a couple good licks on me,
Yes! Oh, 4-2. 5-2.
This goes to show you, don't celebrate too early. Don't think you've won too early, because folks, let me tell you, your MP is ready with that backhand. And when you saw the way that he served with a backhand, let me show you again, because this is really interesting.
Yes! Oh, 4-2. 5-2.
So you see how he does that backhanded serve? So I said to him, Chris, you played table tennis? Because to me, that's a very table tennis kind of move, a kind of backhanded swing with the paddle, right? And he said, yes, he used to play table tennis. And that always caught me a little bit off guard, I don't know what it is, but I'm expecting people to serve like in the traditional way, like with tennis. So when they do this kind of backhanded serve, it's kind of like, okay. So Aliano says he doesn't see what people, well, it's a sickness, trust me. So Kenneth was out as well. I didn't get to catch him, but I'm aware that he also made some rounds out as well. Thank you so much, King. Wee Wee says, why don't they use family planning? Well, I think we need to, number one, really, really educate people more, and to also make family planning much more accessible to people, because I find like there's not enough of that being made available, and I think that's unfortunate. But I do believe that this is exactly what's happening. If you don't make it accessible, people are not going to use it. And so if people don't use it, then they're going to keep having babies that are unwanted for the most part. Once they're here, like I said, there's not much you can do about it. But I don't know. Let's just try to make some better decisions. But I think that, there are ways in which we can support these young persons. And that includes making sure that they have access to birth control, especially if they're on NAU. I've said this before. Make birth control a requirement of NAU assistance. Yep. That's what I'm saying. It's a requirement. It's necessary, And I feel like when we don't make it available to people, they will be out there doing the most. But it's funny because we live in a society that, unfortunately, we just want to send this one singular message, which tends to be based on Christianity, and this is what you should do, and they're not necessarily entirely tuned in to I feel like what the average person is having to deal with. And so telling these young people don't have sex just ain't working. That much should be clear. So Carlos is going on and on about political parties. I'm not sure today is that's the discussion that we're having, but okay. Marshall says those that can't afford to have kids shouldn't pack themselves up with 3 or 4. Most definitely not. It's a constant conversation that needs to be had. Teaching young people from early on, if you're going to engage in this behavior, let's assume that they will, folks, trust me, because they're doing it. Then we ensure that they have good knowledge about being safe, because more things than just getting pregnant. There's STDs and all sorts of other stuff. We need to really be putting programs in place, constant revision of those programs that give our young people the opportunity to be adequately protected. All right, so let's talk about the Omicron variant and some of the conversations around that. So again, thank you to all the MPs who were out and about over the weekend, making sure that the children and other people in their community are going to have a nicer Christmas. You can go and check our page or Facebook page if you're interested in seeing those videos from over the weekend. And so the Omicron variant on Saturday, as I had gotten home after a long day out recording all these different events, it came to my attention that we have a situation on our hands. And so someone messaged me and said, Sandy, we're now looking at potentially some 27 cases. And I said, oh my Lord, what you saying to me? 27 cases. And they said, yes, honey child, government soon make an announcement. Well, CMR, we got our sources. And our sources, I'm going to address somebody named K-Man Voices. because I don't know who this person is, and they're hiding behind this fictitious social media account. And it's quite interesting that you even have to do that. And when you hide behind, it's one thing when you're bold and you can just say what you're thinking and you're just honest with people, and they don't have to like it or anything of the sort, right? But when you have to hide behind a pseudonym or a fake social media account, and then that gives you the boldness that you think you need, but you're misinformed, then that's a problem. And I think that whoever is behind this Cayman Voices account really has some issues. And I'm going to tell you, why I think that. So anyway, we put up the story about the 27 cases, and we then waited on government to confirm or not. So I think it's pretty clear what we do. We'll put up a story. Our sources are really, really good. I'm not saying our sources are 100% of the time, but this story, I felt like, they're probably 97% right, give or take one or two. And it turns out that they were 100% correct. Well, in a way, it's 27, but 4 were actually confirmed. So anyway, so it's 23 new suspected cases with 4 having been confirmed, right? So I put up the story. We were also aware at that point that Rub-a-Dub, is that what it's called, was being shut down, that they had received notice that they were not to proceed with this event. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So let me tell you what happened. We sent out our Rub-a-Dub story. The timestamp on it is roughly 7:52 p.m. on Saturday. I had people messaging me saying, your story must be wrong because I live on Crew Road, I live in the area, and Rub-a-Dub is still very much rubbing and dubbing. I don't even, what does Rub-a-Dub mean? Anyway, whatever it means, they were rubbing and dubbing. And the party was on. The music was being played. People were showing up. They were lining up at the gate. And someone even showed me a picture of the event. Let me see if I can show you guys this picture. You're full? Okay, no problem. So this is the actual event here. And this is what, people are showing up. And so we see the Rub-a-Dub stage. Look like it's ready. This is at the Lions Center, by the way. People were there, see people in the background. And it was like, okay, this event is on. So I thought to myself, there must be some mistake here. This can't be a situation where this event is actually really canceled. I was double checking my sources, although let me tell you, I knew this source couldn't have been wrong. But still, I thought to myself, maybe Rub-a-Dub didn't get the notice or whatever. So I went back after some considerable time that evening and said, what is this all about? How on earth is it possible that this happened? And so very late on multiple hours, so almost into the 11 o'clock hour, is when I received confirmation that no, your source wasn't incorrect. Here is a copy of the letter, which you guys now see on your screen. So I thought, oh, okay. Here's what I know. The organizers at Rub-a-Dub, Cedric Gadir Singh, received a phone call earlier in the evening that he needed to cancel his event. And here's why. Now, I know a lot of y'all feel a way about it, and I'm going to tell you some of the backstory of what was going on. He would have known some of the backstory. The authorities have come to strongly believe that Cedric oversold his event. Promoters do this all the time. This is probably, not something that is unusual for them to do. But at a time like this, when you have COVID, raving, is that the word I'm looking for? Roaming and raving probably isn't the right word, but you know what I mean, raging. That's the word I'm looking for. When you have COVID raging in the community, this probably is a time to be very cautious about the type of events that you have. Now, I know Cedric would have been anxious to have his rub-a-dub session on. One of the reasons is because this is the second time now that his event has been postponed, right? I'm assuming it's postponed. I mean, I don't even know. But let me show you guys a little something here on social media. So Rub-a-Dub has a page. I guess this is an annual event. I'm afraid I don't know a whole lot about it. And I did check their page, and I saw that back in September, he put up that the event had been postponed. And it said, due to concerns over the recent announcement of community cases, Trident Events Group will be taking precautions and postponing the Rub-a-Dub 90s Cooler Festival event that was carded for Saturday at the Lion Center. So they're supposed to have it Saturday, September the 25th. Obviously, we had just had the start of another community, or our first real community outbreak. And so that happened. So they decided to postpone it at that particular time. All right. Again, I don't know who Trident Events Group is, but the organizer, as most people know it, is Cedric. So he postponed the event back in September. And it says postponement notice. And they went on to say how, they apologized and they were going to, ensure that, I guess, certain things were in place for the rescheduling of the event. So all tickets previously purchased will be honored for the rescheduled event date. So they weren't going to issue a refund. And here's one person, interesting enough, saying, can you please let us know how we can obtain a refund? And nobody responded to that. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me enlarge it a little bit. No one responded to her question about a refund because, a lot of these event promoters, let me tell you something, they ain't giving you no refund. Like once they sell their event, they're really not going to give you a refund. Come hell or high water, they'll be like, oh yeah, we'll redo it some other time. Now, to be fair to Cedric and his group, Trident Events Group, they do put out money. I understand that there would be money in terms of securing the bar, the venue, decorating the venue, et cetera, et cetera. So I think how these events work, and again, I've never been to Cooler Fest, so I'm going off of what I see and what people say, is that some of them you bring your own cooler, and then others, they'll just provide drinks for you there. So I'm not sure. This one even had Rub-a-Dub merchandise that you could purchase in advance. They were telling you go purchase your Rub-a-Dub hat and shirt. And I mean, they're making all kind of money off of, merchandise as well, which is a whole other thing, right? So they have sponsors for their event. So this one is sponsored by Ray and Nephew. That's a liquor company. They've got Logic as a sponsor. They have Appleton Estate as a sponsor. Now, Cedric, you guys know, works for, I believe it's Jake Scott. And so, he's got, I guess, connections in terms of that, right? So December the 1st, notice goes up that the Cooler Fest has been, Cayman's #1 Cooler Festival, has been rescheduled for December the 18th, which was this past Saturday at the Lion Center. So again, they reminded people that all previous tickets would be honored. Now, on the 15th, which would have been, what day was 15th? Wednesday, it says here that the event is completely sold out. The event is completely sold out. Put a big stamp across it, and there you go. It tells you all the artists that are going to be performing: DJ Moses, Coalition Sound, DJ Nico, and the works, right? So quite interestingly enough, folks, the authorities believe that not only was this event sold out, that it was probably oversold, right? So that's interesting. But when I looked at their Facebook page as we were doing the story after 7 o'clock, I noticed that there had been no indication whatsoever of the fact that the event was yet again being postponed. And in fact, here we are on the morning of December the 20th, 2 days after the event, and there's no indication of the event was canceled. This is what happened, like nothing on social media. Now, I haven't checked to see if they have anything up on Instagram this morning, but I suspect that Instagram is probably the same thing. So let me just see if I can find Rub-a-Dub. Okay. Now, lots of people follow these pages on Instagram. They've got over 1,100 followers. Again, no update on their Instagram either. The last notice was the same one about tickets being, what do you call it? Tickets being honored from the rescheduled event, right? So I found it a little bit peculiar, I must say, that the authorities would call Cedric. Now, mind you, Cedric is in the business of promotion. Cedric knows how this works. So the authorities would call Cedric and say, your event is being postponed, or we need you to cancel this event tonight. Phone him, get him the official letter, which you guys saw the official letter was signed by the chief medical officer, explaining the legal decision, like under what section of the actual law that she's using to justify this decision. And, this is what it is. So it's Section 58 of the Public Health Act 2021 revision. And, they had concerns. And so at no point in time, even now, have we seen Cedric send anything out on social media. Now, listen, if you have an event and you want to get the word out there that this event is canceled, the best way to do so is to do it on social media. You can reach out to Everything 345. Big shout out to those guys, Jason and the crew over there. You could reach out to CMR. Sometimes people do this when something happens last minute. Hey, CMR, can you post up this notice for me, please? No problem. Because we've got between Facebook and Instagram over 60,000 followers. So we post it up, pretty much all your rub-a-dub people are going to know that this event has been yet again, unfortunately for you, temporarily canceled or postponed or whatever. None of that has happened. And someone said to me, it's really, really peculiar because they're of the opinion that what was happening is Cedric fully intended, and of course this is just speculation on the part of people on the outside making observations, that Cedric fully intended to proceed with the event on the basis that, I've already spent money on this event. This is the second time now that we're having to postpone this because of COVID. And so I'm going to have my event and then let the police come and shut it down. Even though he knew in advance that he was instructed not to have the event. And largely because they strongly believe that he actually oversold the event. People oversell events because at the last minute, people mightn't show up. They themselves are scared of COVID. They're like, well, I bought a ticket, but I'm not going to go. And you don't get a refund if you just don't show up or if you don't go. They don't care about that. But they still got your money up front, right? So I think Cedric was pushing the envelope a little bit. He was like, I'm still going to go ahead with my event. Because really and truly, when you look at that photo that I just showed you guys, the venue was lit up as though something was going to happen. If nothing was going to happen at that venue that night, say for whatever reason he wasn't able to get to social media, I don't know why, but whatever. You shut off all the lights at the Lions Center. You make sure the Lions Center is in complete darkness. Nobody's there. So when people drive by, even if they accidentally show up, they're like, oh, there's no music playing. There's no event going on here. There's no lights on, nothing. But there was music blasting. And trust me, the music was blasting. Let me show you. I'm not going to show you guys, but I'm going to tell you some of the messages that I would have received and the times. So one message came in at 8 o'clock saying, I can hear a rub-a-dub at my house. The music is still playing, LOL. It's still going on and people are walking in because they drove by at 8:25. I said, okay. And then somebody else who lives in the area messaged me at, let me see, at 8:30 and then 9:07. Yeah, 9:07, they sent me a voice note saying, oh yeah, that party's still on because I can hear the music from my house. So all I said was hot mess. I'm not here to enforce any of the policies for public health or whoever is responsible for that. I think the police, that would be their job to do so. So I guess Cedric can explain that to all of you who had tickets for his event. But I saw some of the people saying, oh, well, the letter's dated the day of the event. Yes. Do you know why it's dated the day of the event? because they would have just found out, folks, that they have another 23 cases, suspected cases. And like I said, by the time they announce that to the public, that means they're 99% sure that those are actual Omicron variants. So we have almost 30 cases of the Omicron variant here in the Cayman Islands. So let me address this Cayman Voices person first, and then we'll wrap up with a few little bits and pieces, I think, about the Omicron variant. So Denny posted something on his page. And I think sometimes when you post something, you expect certain trolls to come out and make comments, right? I don't know who Cayman Voices is, but Denny posted saying the decision to close at midnight because of Omicron is one of the worst to date. Clearly, the policy is being driven by fear and not science. Well, I'm not so sure that Denny actually knows what he's talking about. And I think we need to have this discussion either tomorrow or Wednesday, but we do plan on having the premiere on for Impact Wednesday on Wednesday evening. So we want him to address it. But I have been looking into this whole situation of reducing the hours, the operating hours of businesses. And I must tell you that there actually is some science to it. So I think Denny has missed the mark here. But again, everybody's an expert. Everybody's an expert. So then the most interesting thing that happens is that someone, again, named Cayman Voice, decides to come out and attack people who had a different opinion. So they decided to attack Jason Rankin. Let me just pull up the, I want to actually pull up the conversation because you guys need to see this. Because, you know, when you're having a discussion on these topics, and then all of a sudden people start to go on a very personal level and they can't keep it to the topic at hand, you do have to wonder why that is, because it is very, very interesting. So Jason says the following. Let me show you guys what Jason had to say, right? So this is Jason Rankin. He's actually a DJ and he works in these bars and stuff. So he would probably have a little bit more of an idea of actually what is going on at most of them than the rest of us. I'm just saying. I'm more willing to take his expert knowledge on it than even Denny, because I don't think that Denny hangs out in any of these bars or nightclubs and probably hasn't been on that scene in quite some time. Jason is active on the scene. So this is what Jason said. Jason said, as someone who works in the nightclubs, I can assure you that a 2 a.m. crowd is very different than an 11 p.m. crowd. Most places are packed like a sardine can. The decision to close at midnight takes food out of the mouth, but I understand why it's being done. So and Denny goes on to say, well, this is unnecessary and it's not what one would describe as living with it. And again, I would not agree with Denny's position on that. This is exactly how we live with it. We make incremental adjustments and changes that hopefully don't force us to go back into a complete lockdown. You know, this is one of those situations where half a loaf of bread or 3/4 of a bread is better than no bread at all. And I think that's a tough decision that the government is having to make. So he goes on, and then Jason says, well, living with it was the proposed rhetoric prior to the arrival of Omicron. Now that it's here, they're trying to be proactive, and they aren't trying to stop it, just slowing it down, which is true. I mean, hello, if we've got almost 30 cases, there's no stopping it, right? So Denny holds to his position that it's nonsense, and time will teach both of us the truth. Well, it sure will, and we will wait. We will sit back and wait. But what has happened is that, let me just pull this up here. Cayman Voices has attacked several people, saying that he or she, I don't know who Cayman Voices is, that they have dirt on Jason. So they made several comments about Jason that included, I suggest you just chill one side before you get exposed. We have your dirt. Okay. I don't know what that means. I don't know anything about Jason's business like that, what kind of dirt they're potentially talking about. But how did the conversation go in this direction? So Cayman Voice, I'm curious, right? Your title alone suggests that you must be the voice for the entire Cayman Islands and that nobody else has a voice. And so because, what's his name here? Jason has expressed an opinion. Nothing rude about what Jason said. He said, listen, I'm in the business and I know what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, he's being told, you need to step aside before you get exposed. And we have your dirt. Well, I don't know who we is. So Cayman Voice is what? A collective of people? What exactly is this? I have no idea. But they don't stop there. They go on to then make an assertion, which is completely false. And they say, bigger question is how, this is what they say here, bigger question that the Minister of Health needs to answer is how did Malraux get a copy of the letter before the promoter got it? This is a serious leak somewhere up high. Well, Cayman Voice says you should be calling yourself Cayman Donkey because as you would know, it's impossible for me to get a letter before the promoter got it. So that statement is completely false. That's what you call somebody just throwing stuff out there, no concern whatsoever for the facts of the situation. So I'm sure Cayman Voices has no clue that not only did Cedric get a letter, but he actually got a phone call before they were even, they were working on the official letter, but before they even issued that, he got a phone call to say your event is unfortunately going to have to be canceled tonight. We got the letter after 11 o'clock at night, almost 11 o'clock at night. The event was already, the police were already on scene hours before that saying, do you not remember that your event is actually canceled? What are you doing here? Why is there music blaring? And why are there people showing up? So Cayman Voices try to get facts. I know it's hard sometimes, but try to make sure that you're operating with facts. So the Minister of Health doesn't have anything to do with me and my sources and how I get information. The reason why the letter was put up is because there are people questioning our original story, which said that the event had been canceled. So much so that in fact, GIS then sent out a press statement saying, yes, this event has been canceled. Because the promoter is not using social media to get the word out there that the event has been canceled. So GIS said, well, it is a bit unusual for them to actually specify that a particular event has been canceled in the way that they did it, because I think the reason why they had to do it, quite frankly, is because the promoter was kind of playing this game where, they were being ignored and pretending like nothing has happened. So it's kind of crazy. Now, this person also, whoever Cayman Voices, went after France Manderson as well. And they decided to make some comment attacking France, which I, again, don't really know what the issue is there. It's strange because they just threw France's name in the conversation. Like nobody was even talking about France. This is where you now recognize that whoever Cayman Voices is, this is a situation of them being very, very personal and messy, right? So they say at some point, again, France doesn't engage in these types of conversations. You will never see France Manderson, to his credit, start to jump in these conversations and get personal with people. But this person says, sad. Normally that would trigger an investigation, but I guess we have selective rights. And then they tag France Manderson, right? So France doesn't respond to them. Two people, Mary Jackson and somebody else liked it. Somebody who I obviously have blocked and can't see who they are. Or they have me blocked, I should say. Can't see who they are. They have liked this. These are all the people that are in these crazy groups, these anti-vaxxers, right? And I hate to say it, but Danny's also in those groups. And so, France does respond. He says, good morning. This is 2 hours ago. What exactly am I being accused of? And then he says, shouldn't you be asking the question, how does a gossip page get so much inside information within your government? Read the earlier post where CMR stated that the promoter was called before receiving the letter. How does she have this information? And then they go on in a separate post. She's saying that we have 27 Omicron cases. Meanwhile, not even the premier is saying that. Really? Seems like you have a leak to plug. Are you going to investigate any of the leaks? So this person is clearly a donkey because an hour ago, they're claiming that not even the premier is saying that. Okay, let's back it up. Because again, this is where people are just idle and have absolutely nothing to do. Okay. And so when you have nothing to do but engage in idleness, this is the kind of behavior that you will involve yourself in. So let me play a message that was sent out on Saturday night. It's actually a voice note, so give me one quick second here. That made it very, very clear that we actually had 27 cases. Now, did we get it out before the official statement? Yes. Do our leaks come from within government? Not necessarily. This is the Cayman Islands, folks. So I can tell you in this instance, the leak had nothing to do with government. It was not a government person. It was not a civil servant, which is all that France is responsible for. So if it's not a civil servant that's giving me information, you expect him to launch an investigation into what exactly? Now, let me be very clear. We get information all the time that is highly sensitive. Sometimes we share it as we get it, and other times we just sit on it and wait. The fact that people talk in the Cayman Islands should be nothing new to anyone. It's one of the reasons why CMR has been as successful as we have been, because people talk and they know that they can trust us. So people at all levels tell us information. Yes, that is very, very true. What I find interesting is Cayman Voices has never had an issue with other stories that we would have broken before, where people were talking and that's how we got the information. Let me give you a prime example. When there was this... Mama, how do we write nasty? How do we write nasty? Sorry, she's asking me how to write something. I'm not sure. This is a name, so I'm not sure if this is how she spells it, but I think this is how it might be. There you go. You can practice writing that. So to Cayman Voices, it's funny how when information is disclosed that doesn't necessarily make the government look good, you're not asking then, well, where did Sandy get that information from? Case in point, the lateral flow test. We told you guys all about that situation and how that happened. Ooh, that's a black mark on the face of the government. Was Cayman Voices saying, well, where did Sandy get that information from? Did somebody leak her information? You see, you can't be selective with the truth. You either engage in the truth 100% or you don't, right? We share information from our sources all the time. It doesn't matter to me whether it's pro-government, anti-government, whatever. Now, there are times when we have to be careful with the information because guess who's going to end up in court again? It's not Cayman Voices who's hiding behind a fake account and a fake picture, and there's absolutely nothing real about this account. It's not them that end up in court because nobody don't even know who you are. You could be anybody. Look at this. Not even, they've got 64 mutual friends, right? And they're friends with all sorts of people. But, you know, obviously there's someone who's, look at this. What does it say? Mall Road strikes again, spreading fake news. Read the last sentence. I don't even know when is this story from? Okay, so this is about police say that reports of a robbery in the area at the same time as assault, which are posted on social media, were false. Poor Cayman Voices, this is a completely separate incident. There was more than one situation. There was a robbery, and again, you know, pick sense from nonsense here, folks. But there was, I think, 2 robberies which the police themselves reported on. So Cayman Voices, and I'm sure that you're listening because this is what trolls do. They don't, what's going on with the requested page not found? Okay, RCIPS, check into that. But here we go. Let's back up here. We covered both of these stories. So they had armed robbery on Shedden Road. Stop it, Sandy. You can't be. Mile Road reported that? Yes. So what Wendy is talking about here, about reports of an assault or robbery, which are posted on social media being false, Cayman Voices, go check yourself. Don't be a Cayman donkey. So let me just copy this and put this on Cayman Voices page so they can have it for their own benefits, right? This is when you're stupid, and I don't know who Ondine is, but there you go. When you have an axe to grind with somebody and you yourself can't get it right, Cayman Voices, you really you do yourself a disservice. Not only did this happen in Shedden Road, but there was another incident. So there's this one with the assault, which this was on Esther Lee Tibbetts. That had nothing to do with the incident on Shedden Road. But look here, there was another assault and robbery on Shedden Road on the following day. Honey child, let me be very, very clear. I'll copy this one for your benefit as well, Cayman Voices. When we report on certain things, even when we report before the police get it, 99% of what we're saying is 100% spot on. Okay? We may have some of the details. So the thing down by Archie's, right? The first report was that it was a possible shooting. Then, as the information started to firm up a little bit, we understand that somebody actually got stabbed. But look here, right here in the information. The police say that they responded to the Archie's Bar location. The police named the location, much as we did that day, where it was reported that 2 persons at the locations were victims of an armed robbery. It says when they arrived, both persons had left the location by private vehicle. One person went to the hospital because of upper body injuries. That was stabbing, non-threatening, and they were later discharged. Officers were then informed that 2 masked men approached the victims, one branded a knife and the other a firearm. So you can see demanding money and valuables. You can see why the firearm story would have been the first story that reached us. That there was some sort of a shooting incident, because when somebody hear firearm, they're thinking somebody gonna use it, or whatever. And then later we heard that someone had gotten stabbed. So the story and the information received was 100% correct. So poor Cayman Voices, they're reading CNS and being as dumb as they want to be. Don't come from all road, honey child. Whoever you are, you have no BALLS, no gonads. You're a troll. You're a social media troll. And I notice the people who will befriend someone like this. We've got Clinton, Renwick, Mr. Cecil. You're probably here listening to the program. Sasha, Leroy, Rolston. All these people will befriend this person and not even know what they're talking about. This person, when you look at their page, and this could be any number of trolls, clearly has an issue with CMR. Here they are again. Oh, exclusive sources say. Well, you know what, Cayman Voice, thank you for always sharing my articles. That's so nice of you. Claiming that what she said, why don't she just say her buddy Kenneth told her to leak it and spin it in a positive way so there'll be less fallout? Oh, poor you. Poor Cayman Voices. Oh, and they like to hear Cayman. They like to share Cayman hearsay. So here they are sharing information that they have no proof of, not backed up in any way, nothing. Right now, if we had posted this, this would have been a problem. But Cayman hearsay shares it, and then Cayman Voice says hashtag she is supported. Oh, you poor people. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But they seem to really love CMR. I mean, they're all over our page. Can I tell you? Wow. I didn't even realize till this morning that they really enjoy sharing every single thing we do. Okay, then. Anyway, they seem to believe in a lot of conspiracy theories. Obviously, anti-PAC government, anti-France Manderson, anti-vaxxer. That's goes without saying that would be the case. And they're all up in their feelings. Good luck to you, Cayman Voice. What Facebook needs to do, and this is where I'm always perplexed by Facebook, is this is obviously a fake account, a fake name. And Facebook will put people who they want to put to the test of, you need to send us your ID with your proper name so we can verify. Well, how does Cayman Voice get away with a fake account and a fake name on Facebook? Seriously. How do they get away with it, Facebook, and other people can't? Anyway, let's wrap up with some of your comments. Let me see here now. Marshall says, let me see. Wee Wee says they want to be a mother hen with a bag of chickens. Rub-a-dub is basically sex. Oh, is it? Okay. Well, there you go. Learn something new every day. Wee Wee says these people don't care about people's lives, not even their own. They're people who are willing to take a lot of risk when it comes to COVID. Trust me. You think you could get me going to any rub-a-dub or rub-a-lub or rub-a-pub or anything else? Don't think so. The cruise ship coming December 28th. We can talk about that again, maybe in tomorrow's program. No inclinations of a cancellation at this point, no. And there's a number of reasons why. The first most important thing that you have to recognize with the cruise ship is not only are they going to have these people lateral flow tests, they have to lateral flow test in order to get on the cruise ship, or they have to, let's back up. They have to PCR test in order to get on the cruise ship. And then in addition to that, before disembarking on Cayman, some 24 hours later, they're going to have to test again. But we are their first stop. So if they provide a test before getting on the cruise ship, and then they're testing again before disembarking, the chances of anyone coming off that cruise ship who is positive is going to be far less than what has been happening with Omicron. Now, let me be very clear about how the Omicron variant has been coming into the Cayman Islands. Our own people have been bringing it in. So I know a lot of you are like, oh, travelers. You know who the travelers are? They're not visitors to Cayman in the sense that they're tourists. They are Caymanians, right? Who couldn't sit still for even a month and wait when the borders were open. Remember I shared some statistics with you guys last week. The vast majority of people who've been traveling up and down since November 20th have been locals, residents, people who live here, jumping on a plane, running to Miami to do their Christmas shopping, decoration shopping, and the whole 9 yards. That's what's been happening. So it's actually Caymanians who brought it in. And of course, where are they mingling? They're not going to the tourist spots here and there or staying at the Ritz. They're hanging out with you. They're your family members. Oh, I went Miami, I went Walmart and got you something. And so the second Omicron person gave it to somebody else in their household, in their community, and that's how community spread has kicked up to almost 30 people. Y'all want the cold hard truth? Ms. Della says he should be fined by the authorities. Until this happened, these people are not going to take this situation seriously. On this island, it's disgraceful the way that they were acting. And there was another event as well that was being held, I think on Saturday night, that people were asking me about. And I don't know how much the authorities had about that particular event in terms of why that event was still permitted to happen. But, you know, these people get stupid once they start drinking. They don't social distance. They don't wear their mask. Even if they take the mask with them, they end up taking it off because they're drinking and talking. And it's just a recipe for disaster, actually. So Ms. Brenda says, one can't make a comment without being attacked and the attackers behaving as though they speak for everyone. Yes, it is very, very unfortunate. Jared says, here, France, boy, he licked them. Jared says, Cayman is the CIA of the Caribbean. Good morning to Benji. How are you? Yeah, so I don't know who Cayman Voices are, but poor them. I guess they have a few friends that are paying them some mind, show. Natasha says, complaint, why is CBC asking for invoices to clear packages and only releasing one for multiple shipment orders, but expecting payment for the entire shipment? I'm not aware of anything to do with this one, Natasha, but let me ask the people at CBC. We'll get on it for you and let you know. Maybe we'll have an answer by tomorrow. Okay. Cameron says you enjoying this, not Sandy. Well, listen, It is what it is. In my opinion, if you're going to come for CMR, you better come good. Just come good. Because the foolishness that Cayman Voice is going on with is just that. It's pure foolishness. Johan says everybody loves them a CMR. Oh, man, I need to play this video, but I can't do it with a 5-year-old in the room. That was being circulated where somebody was tricking their friend saying, oh, you're on Mall Road. And they were like, what? WTF? What am I doing on Mall Road? Damien says, yes, they were vaccinated. Most in African states were not, but there's no travel restrictions put in place, and not Egypt, Belgium, where the first cases traveled from. Well, listen, here's the reality of this. Good morning, Takesha. How are you? Here's the reality of this, folks. The Omicron variant so far, we know, is infecting twice as many people pretty much as the Delta variant, right? Now, why does that matter? Even if the Omicron variant is not as deadly or isn't any worse than the Delta variant, the fact that you would have more people infected automatically means that you're going to have more hospitalizations. Think about it. You need to really put on your processing head here. So everybody's like, oh, it's not as deadly. And first of all, we don't know that yet. The science and the professional opinion is still very much out, because those numbers don't tend to catch up until weeks and months after a new variant has come to the forefront, right? So we do not have that information available as yet. What we already know is that it is doubling its infection rate every couple of days. This is twice the rate of Delta. So what that means is, if you look at how many people Delta was putting in the hospital and how it was impacting hospitalizations, not just in this jurisdiction, but across the world, that means that you can expect a new variant that is infecting twice as many people in like half the time, basically. You're going to have hospital systems that are already under pressure. And the US is saying this already. The next couple months is going to be a very trying time. Their personnel are under pressure, the hospital system's under pressure, they're under pressure. And to think that hospitalizations are going to peak and go up even further, and infection rates are going to go up. The more people you have infected, the more people will be hospitalized, and the more people that are going to die. It's kind of simple math, really. And so that is going to happen. And I don't know that that message is reaching the masses as it should be. So 173 of you are listening to this program right now. You need to tell all 5 of your top friends, listen to this. You have more infections. More infections automatically means more hospitalizations. More hospitalizations automatically means more deaths. Right? And people need to be as proactive as possible. So the data is still out. I know people keep saying that, but I'm telling you, I am reading what the experts are saying, and the experts are not saying that definitively. They're saying that's a possibility that Omicron might not be as deadly. The headline across the world says Omicron is spreading fast. That's alarming, even if it's mild. This is the takeaway. The World Health Organization chief 5 days ago, under the UN News, said, don't underestimate Omicron. Don't dismiss it. Don't say, oh, it's going to be mild. That is a mistake. Folks, go out and get your booster shots. I'm getting mine done today. So Mr. Tedros, whatever the heck his name is, I can only pronounce the first name. The rest of it gets crazy. Director General of the World Health Organization, headquartered in Geneva, said that the variant is now present in 77 countries. This was 5 days ago, so I'm sure it's more than that. This was updated on December 14th. And he says Omicron is spreading at a rate that we have not seen any previous variant. We're concerned that people are dismissing Omicron as mild. Surely we have learned by now that we underestimate this virus at our peril. You understand? Stop saying that it's mild, because we don't actually know that yet. And the fact that people, and I get it at some level, people want to grab onto that as some level of hope. But they're saying, do not underestimate this. Here's what he says. Even if Omicron does cause less severe disease, the sheer number of cases could once again overwhelm unprepared health systems. I need to be very clear. Vaccines alone do not get any country out of this crisis. Countries can and must prevent the spread of Omicron with measures that work today. So this goes back to the cottage cheese thing that we've talked about, layering. Doing everything you can within your powers, folks, to protect yourself. So yes, get your boosters, wear your mask, social distance. What are you going out to these rubba-dubba, chubba, lubba, lubba things for? Why? Some 41 countries have not been able to vaccinate even 10% of their populations. And 98 countries have yet to reach 40%. So there are those in the community who are even being critical, saying, oh, well, you know, we got 80% double vaccinated. What you need to look at is the number of people who have gotten the booster shot, which is at what? Is it at 10% even? Because the double vaccinated not going to help you right now. The booster is where you need to be. And so that's the real number. What percent of eligible people have gotten their booster? That's what we need to be looking at. So what we do know is this thing is spreading at an unprecedented rate. And that is why we should be particularly concerned about it, folks. We'll talk some more tomorrow about the variant. And again, you guys have to forgive me a little bit here because I do have little Miss Gigi here. She's out of school this week. She had her Christmas concert on Friday. So she's out of school for the next couple of weeks. We don't have a nanny. We do it ourselves. So it is what it is. I think Daddy was supposed to be taking some time off during the holidays, but then I heard him saying last night that they're actually really, really busy at work. So I don't think other than Christmas, like the proper holidays, that he's going to be in a position to take time off because, you know, when you work, you gotta prioritize what's a priority for your employer. So folks, I'll bring you some more of that. The garbage truck, Corrine, no garbage pickup this morning in West Bay. Let me inquire about that for you and I will DM you. We like to send these messages in real time to the relevant authorities. So let me, I'm sending the CBC one now. And then Corrine, let me send yours to, let's see, to the DEH as well. Okay, so I will do that. Give me some time to try to find. Okay, I'll get that done for you, Corrine. And see if I can. Who's the head of DH again? Anyway, I'll get that to them, and I'll find out. All right, folks. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the program this morning. It is Christmas, so we're getting into the last couple of days of the holiday season. If you don't have your Christmas beef yet, you might be out of luck. I got to tell you the truth. A lot of people were already running out of such things. And I wish you guys a beautiful day. It is Monday, and I know a lot of you are still at work this week. But, you know, be safe out there, folks. It's the season for a lot of craziness on the roadways. And let me say this. I had a conversation with someone yesterday that really kind of made me feel really bad. And it brought a tear to my eye in terms of this situation, right? So someone was saying to me that poor Phaedra, towards the end, she was starting to really regret her decisions. I kind of had wondered about this. You know that she passed away, unfortunately. She, in my mind, is our second real COVID death where the person wasn't in the hospital for anything else but COVID and ended up dying because of their decisions. And she was, you know, self-proclaimed anti-vaxxer and, you know, whatever. And so someone said to me that, you know, they were very close to her and they started to get information directly from the family that she, was getting, she was, realizing even before she was placed on the ventilator, what the prognosis meant when she was going on the ventilator, and she was really beginning to regret some of her decisions. And I thought to myself, it's too bad that she did not, because I guess this would have been a decision on her part, that she did not vocalize that, because I think that had she vocalized that, she could have saved other people from making the same mistake. It's one thing to admit that we're wrong, and we all had chances or times in life when we have been wrong, but it's a whole other thing to not admit it and to go to your grave knowing that you were wrong, and that the being wrong has literally cost you your life. And I said, of all the voice notes that she sent out to people, that would have been the most impactful one for her to say, I made a mistake. Don't do what I did, because your life could very well be on the line. And so I thought about that yesterday when I heard that story, and it really made me feel bad. And I think that at the end of the day, folks, don't be in that position. Don't put yourself in that position where your last minutes of your life are going to be filled with regret, because you're going to be like, oh, I should have gone and get vaccinated. I should have gotten my booster. I should have done this. I shouldn't have gone out partying every weekend, exposing myself to tons of people. It just doesn't make any sense. Your loved ones, somebody cares about you. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for, again, joining the program today. I'll leave you with a few snippets. So again, the premier did send out a message about the Omicron variant. And so I will go ahead and send this message over to you guys now.
Tonight, Saturday, 18th December, I wish to provide an update on the Omicron variant in the Cayman Islands. The Public Health Department has confirmed that we now have a total of 4 cases of the Omicron variant in the Cayman Islands. Even more concerning is that there are a further possible 23 cases of the Omicron variant. Of these 23 suspected cases, a total of 7 are in persons with no travel history. This suggests that local community transmission of the Omicron variant may be occurring. In light of this news, the Chief Medical Officer has issued an emergency order to cancel a large event planned for this evening. While it is the festive season and everyone is eager to enjoy socializing with family and friends, I want to appeal to all members of our community to carefully consider your attendance at any large gathering and to be vigilant in adhering to all safety protocols. Doing so is our best way to protect ourselves and our loved ones. The Omicron variant is extremely contagious, and we must do all we can to slow the spread. On behalf of the country, I would like to send strength, support, and prayers for recovery to all individuals impacted by COVID-19. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Merry Christmas. 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 Merry Christmas.
Good night, Cayman, and good night, Georgetown Central. As you can tell, we're here enjoying the Christmas spirit with our seniors and our kids in the Central Scranton community. I just want to say a special Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody in the neighborhood. May God bless you and your families through this time of the year.
'Tis the season to get all your stocking stuffers at Small Deals Outlet in the Thompson Building in Central Georgetown. We have some awesome specials on for Christmas, including fashion handbags, kids' bubble handbags, headphones, dancing cactus, and face shields. There are too many fantastic novelty and unique gift ideas to mention. Stop by today and visit us or browse our online catalog at smalldealsoutlet.com. Call today for any questions at 746-5072.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.